Hey guys, what is going on? I am back with my project video I've been working on for a while. It is Friday the 13th today, and as you may have guessed, that is the project I have been working on. So for a very long time now, I have been wanting to do a Friday the 13th ranked video. I've actually wanted to do a few ranked videos, but I finally got a chance to get to the Friday the 13th one because I had some time on my hands, and of course today is Friday the 13th, so what better day to do it on, right? Anyway, so remember, these are only my rankings on what I personally think is the best film and the worst. So I'm going to go through the ranking with you, starting at the bottom, working right up to my favorite. So these are just my personal opinion, guys, so if you disagree, all good. Let me know in the comments what your list is. I would love to know. Again, these are just the ones that I have the most fun with, so I figured I'd share. Let's get into them now, guys. All right, so I'm not going to beat around the bush with number 12. It's probably the same as most of you. I am picking Jason Goes to Hell. This movie for me is, it's kind of a polished turd. Not so good at all. Was not a fan of it. I think it was a mistake not putting Jason in most of the movie and having some other random person be Jason. The feel just wasn't there for me. I didn't think he did, or they, whoever, Jason's heart or soul was in at the time, made a lot of decisions that Jason would have made either, so it was a little hard to understand. And didn't care for the look they gave Kane for Jason either, with the bloated head and everything and the mask. So I guess I'll just quickly show you my favorite scene from the movie, and we'll go from there. Check it out. Yeah. Yep, that's basically it. The end credits, what can I say? That was probably the most relieving part, because I was like, wow, this is not good. And you see this cover and you go, oh wow, what is going on here? And just, it's just, no. All right, so moving on, let's go to number 11. All right, so moving on to number 11, I went with Jason X. Now I know some of you may have not put this low, because I know some of you love this movie. And although I don't hate it, it is definitely not one of my favorites at all. It has one of the coolest kill scenes ever, though. And that is definitely my favorite scene in the movie. So let's check that out. So I'm sure you will remember this scene. Lab scene. And Kane doing his thing, and it's a little trick with some liquid nitrogen. So it's an amazing kill, definitely one that gets the attention of everybody. It's I was pretty blown away when I saw it. I thought it was the most awesome. It's definitely up there with one of the best kills ever, I think, in the franchise for sure. Just super cool idea, and yeah, I really I like it for that. That was very cool, and it's got a few funny one-liners here and there. But yeah, not the greatest. Definitely will solidly hold on to the number 11 spot, I think, for me for a while. The bottom three always kind of float around there, but these two are pretty much solidified there, I think. All right, well, let's get on to number 10. And for number 10, I went with Freddy versus Jason. That's right, probably not a big surprise. Freddy versus Jason, I wasn't crazy about. I remember being a little pissed that Kane Hodder didn't get that gig. Not that there's anything wrong with Ken, but Kane should have had that gig. I mean, you got Robert in there. Kane had already played Jason 4 times. Kind of crazy, but yeah, there's some cool scenes in there, like when Jason takes out Freddy towards the end there with his own arm, and the famous glove, the claw, whatever you want to call it. that was a pretty cool scene. But my favorite scene was probably right at the end there, when after Freddy gets the beheading treatment, Jason is walking away, and we see Robert turn to the camera and give us that signature wink, letting us know he is just fine and in control as always. So I think it's almost an underwritten win for Freddy there, knowing he's still up to no good anyway, or something. Right now in the number 9 spot, I went with the original Friday the 13th. So, really enjoy the original. It's a fantastic movie all around. It's probably a better quality film than lots I'm putting in front of it today, but I just enjoy those other ones a little bit more. It's still a fantastic movie, like I said. Big fan, of course, of the beheading scene that is famous, and of course the end scene with the big jump scare at the end when we get to see little Jason jump out of the water and scare the lights out of Adrienne King, who did a great job in this movie, as well as Betsy Palmer, who was unbelievable as well. So a lot of respect for this film, and I'm sure a lot of people would rank it higher. I totally understand that. But no disrespect at all. I put it in the number 9 spot. All right, so on to number 8. So for this one, I went with the Friday the 13th Reboot from 2009. So overall, I thought this reboot was probably one of the better ones done out there when you consider stuff like the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot, for example, that was a total disaster. This one was pretty good. Could have been better, could have been a lot worse though. I really enjoyed this. Favorite scene? Probably the scene where he gets his mask. So it's just cool to see how he transforms from the sackhead wearing Jason. He finds the hockey mask, puts it on. It's an iconic scene. It's pretty cool. So I do enjoy that scene. I thought that was that's pretty cool. And that movie had some decent chemistry with the characters. Like there was just some good back and forth. For example, like this scene here.
No offense, but this is a private party. I don't know you.
No, you don't know me.
That's so funny. I just said that like 2 seconds ago, that I don't know you.
Yeah, I just said that. That sounds crazy. Yeah, they have some great chemistry. So this movie overall is pretty solid. Like, I definitely like it. For a reboot, it is pretty darn good. So it's holding the number 8 spot. All right, so that brings me to my choice of number 7, which is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Now, this film over the years has gotten a fair amount of hate because Jason isn't in it, and it's Roy instead of Jason. I know a lot of people were pissed about that. My favorite scenes in this movie were probably a lot of the hallucination scenes. So there's some really cool ones that, of course, Tommy's going through, where he sees Tom Morga dressed as Jason. Really the only time we get to see the real Jason in this movie. But yeah, I definitely was partial to those scenes when I was a kid. And yeah, this movie kind of had a little bit of everything. It had the wacky dancing with Violet. It also had that hilarious enchilada scene.
Damn enchilada!
And I'm sure you'll remember that. That hilarious run to the outhouse is pretty memorable. And of course their little duet they had as well. So that was pretty funny. It also even had a freaking chainsaw battle scene in it as well. So I mean, yeah, the movie had a little bit of everything. The only thing it didn't have is Jason. So honestly, I think if it did, it would probably be a lot higher up on the list, because this checks a lot of boxes for what people expect out of a Friday the 13th film. And I think it's pretty underrated, and it gets beat up on quite a bit because of no actual Jason. All right, moving on to pick number 6, I went with Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. This one seems to be kind of a love it or hate it kind of film for fans, I see. But I love it. I think it's really good. I mean, could it have been done better? Sure. I mean, it would have been nice to have more scenes actually in New York. I really did enjoy the movie overall, though. I love how they have that alternate poster as well, the I Heart New York. That's pretty sweet. And there was some great kills in there. I like that guitar smash kill, that was cool. And of course,
Julius getting his head punched off
his body. I believe that's his name. That was a little bit cheesy and crazy. But it was nice to see Jason on the subway too. That was kind of cool to see. But I'd have to say, if I had to pick a favorite scene, I'd probably say the Times Square scene. It was just cool to see Times Square behind Jason like that. And then he had that little run-in with the little gangbanger guys with the radio. So it was a pretty funny scene as well. Yeah, I enjoy that one as well. There's a lot of good ones in there, like, you know, when he sees his mask blown up when they basically arrived there. That was kind of neat. It's full of some good ones. I really like it, but it doesn't get nearly enough love. So I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with this one, but that's my number 6 choice. Jason Takes Manhattan. Let's move on to number 5. All right, so for my number 5 pick, I went with The New Blood. Now, this is one that I actually really like. This is Kane's debut. It was a pretty awesome movie. The telekinetic thing was a little hard to get around, I know, for me, but I still really enjoy this movie. I've seen it many, many times. Definitely my favorite Kane Hodder Jason film. And I don't think Jason's ever looked scarier than he has in this movie. Certainly with his mask on anyways. I think mask off, maybe a little on the goofy side with that face they chose, but definitely really intimidating outfit. He looked super scary. Scariest zombie Jason for sure, that outfit. Really good scenes in this. There is a really cool scene where he is sort of hiding in the sort of the dining room off the kitchen area, excuse me, right in the corner, and you can't really see him as he walks in until the lightning strikes. That's kind of a neat scene. I really appreciate that one. Also his stalking scenes as well, when he's stalking Dr. Cruz and Tina's mother. Those are some really cool shots too. He looked really scary creeping through the woods like that, as well as Dr. Cruz's death, you know, stalking him the same way with that awesome instrument he found. That's definitely one of my favorite scenes, as well as at the beginning when he is coming out of the water and Tina brings him back and you see that exposed spine. Very, very cool shot. And then of course, who doesn't appreciate Melissa's death at the end there? Finally the bitch gets what she deserves. That was a pretty satisfying scene. So she kind of got what she deserved in that one. Yeah, just overall some really cool shots in that movie, and it's one of my favorites. Definitely my Kane Hodder favorite, and it's number 5 on my list. Now let's get down to the top 4. All right, on to number 4. I went with Friday the 13th, Part 2. This one has been making a lot of moves for me lately. I've been appreciating it more and more. I think it's just a really well-made film. Amy Steele is fantastic in this. I thought she did a really great job. I liked her in April Fool's Day as well, which she did, as well as another Sean Cunningham Horror Inc. project, I believe. But she was really good in Part 2. I appreciated the story a lot. A lot of great acting in it and stuff. Some so-so acting as well, but the main characters and whatnot did an excellent job. So I really enjoy this movie. And my favorite scene in this one would have to be the campfire scene, sort of towards the beginning.
I don't want to scare anyone. But I'm going to give it to you straight about Jason. His body was never recovered from the lake after he drowned. And if you listen to the old timers in town, they'll tell you he's still out there. Some sort of demented creature. Surviving in the wilderness. Full grown by now. Stalking. Stealing what he needs. Living off wild animals and vegetation. Some folks claim they've even seen him. Right in this area. The girl who survived that night at Camp Blood, that Friday the 13th.
So yeah, that's the majority of the scene anyway. It's fantastic. I gotta love that campfire scene, and they've of course used it since in the franchise as well. Yeah, it's great. So that will bring us now to the top 3. Here we go. My choice for number 3 was actually Part 3. Friday the 13th Part 3 is definitely one of my favorites of all time. I think it's one of the most complete, has everything you can ever want in a Friday the 13th film. Plus it was in 3D. I mean, how amazing is that? Yeah, I really like this film. This was, of course, Jason's big debut with the hockey mask he got from Shelley. Richard Brooker did a fantastic job as Jason in this as well. One of my favorite Jasons. Yeah, I just really enjoy this movie. So let's take a look at some of my favorite scenes.
So a little homage to the original there. Very nice touch.
All right, everybody, we have reached the final 2, and you all know which 2 they are, and these 2 are generally rated as the number 1 the most often in the franchise. It's usually between these 2. Like in all the polls that I've seen over the years, it always seems to be one of these 2 that's in the top spot. And to be honest, it is really tough. Both of these movies are so great, it's really hard to pick one. So there is actually no second place in this ranking. We're gonna go from 3rd place right to 1B. And the choice for 1B that I chose is Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. Now I know some of you are freaking out and gonna go, oh my God, it's the best one ever. How could you ever put the other one ahead of this? Well, it's not because this isn't the best Friday the 13th film ever made, because it very likely is. It's a perfect movie. It's absolutely perfect. It's so awesome. The only reason I picked the other one more is I think it just has more personal meaning for me. And that's the only reason. It was just sort of a bigger deal for me. But man, is this ever a good movie. The final chapter, it has it all. It has comedy, amazing kills, fantastic Jason and Teddy White. Even though he wasn't too happy to be there, I remember originally he wasn't super thrilled about that gig, but he really appreciates it now. And yeah, it's probably what he was best known for, I think, as well. But Part 4, awesome film. Really hard not choosing this as number 1. Like I said, if you guys think it's number 1, I am definitely not going to correct you, because it basically is. Like I said, I have to choose it as 1 as well. I just chose it as 1B. So I'll show you a few of my favorite scenes from this movie. Let's take a close look at this masterpiece, the final chapter.
Let me put in the old computer. No, I'm serious about this. The computer don't lie. Now, let's see. What? It says you're a dead fuck. What? A dead fuck? A lousy lay. You know? A dead... Oh, I see. Oh, don't hold it back from me, Doc. I can take it. Give it to me straight. I did not say it. The computer did. Yeah, well, there is no computer. Aha. And there's no Betty either. And I'm a dead fuck. Like I said, the computer don't lie.
And who could forget the most famous dance in franchise history? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Crispin Glover.
Hey, how come you turned that off? Why don't you run this through your computer, teddy bear? Ted! Hey, Ted, where the hell's corkscrew?
Well, unfortunately, he ended up a very dead fuck at the end of the day anyway. And this brings us to the best scene in part 4, in my opinion, the finale. And we get to see some of Tom Savini's amazing work he did on this film. Unbelievable effects. Absolutely gnarly.
So there you have it. That's Friday the 13th, part 4. It has absolutely everything. What can I say? Comedy, awesome kills, solid story, good acting. It's got it all. So that will bring us to our number 1 pick. And of course, if you haven't already figured it out, it is Friday the 13th, part 6, Jason Lives. Now, this is another masterpiece in my mind. It is every bit as good as 4. The only difference is this movie was the very first new Friday the 13th film that came out when I was a kid, after I knew what the hell it was. Like when I saw the trailers on TV for this, I knew they were talking about Jason. I had seen some Friday the 13th films at this point, and there wasn't anything new out yet until this film. And I mean, it had Alice Cooper on the soundtrack, of course, as well, and CJ Graham is my favorite Jason of all time. I thought he did a fantastic job. I love his movements. I think he's the perfect size for Jason. He's like 6'3", 250, so he's a big, thick dude but you know, he's not overly huge. Yeah, I just think Tommy McLaughlin did a fantastic job with this movie. Tom Matthews, Jennifer Cook is fantastic in it as well. Just everybody, the whole cast is great. The story is great. This one just means the world to me. So it is my favorite one. I watch it over and over. Like I said, if you guys like part 4 better, all the power to you, and I can't disagree. Part 4 is fantastic too. It really is. It's just 6 was that first new one for me, and it was a fresh experience. And you know, the first zombie Jason, I didn't think you could get a better look, especially with that mask off. You know, I still think 7 had the most intimidating look, outfit, but with the mask off, I thought part 6 definitely looked the scariest. Very, very cool. Yeah, so that is why it's my favorite. So I'll show you a few clips from part 6.
Jason Lives is definitely the best opening of the franchise. Little touch of James Bond. And how awesome is this scene? Always love this shot. And the sheriff gets snapped. Awesome. And the big battle in the Ring of Fire, of course. As well as the underwater struggle scene. Just some fantastic scenes in this movie. Love the ending scene here as well, of course. We all know Jason ends up in the bottom of Crystal Lake again, leaving us all wondering if he is still alive. Awesome.
Just so many fantastic scenes in part 6. Can't say enough good things about it. My favorite scene ever in all of the Friday the 13th franchise is actually in part 6 as well. And I don't know what it is about the scene, but it was just so emotionally charged and so well acted, and I was just on the edge of my seat. Every time I see that scene, I just get goosebumps, you know what I mean? So it's definitely my favorite. I will play that for you now as well.
Wait a minute, you can't do this!
Get in there before it's too late! Megan, no! Megan! Megan! Megan, no! Jason! Jason, come on! Come and get me! It's me you won't remember!
And Tommy saves Megan from her demise. Brilliant.
That's it! Come on, maggot head! Come on! Come on, maggot head! That's it! Come on!
Alright guys, that'll do it. That is my official ranking of the Friday the 13th franchise. Currently as it sits, thanks so much for watching, and have yourself a happy Friday the 13th. Later guys.
Happy Friday the 13th.